In this session, we'll add various traps to our game, like something like this, and also this. If I glide to that, I could be hurt. And this one, and also this. Oh. And also this one. Oh. And this. Whoa. And yes, this would hurt as well. And this. I will also tell you how to prevent um, the player from falling down infinitely. So it would glide to that and die. Something like this. So in here it dies. I also give you the codes so how to make the grass to go down, but not to go up from a certain point. Let's go and bring our trap pictures, but first let me deactivate all of them because I don't want that to interfere with anything. And the torch, the bush, the fences, they go to train. All right, everything is clean. Here in the Photoshop, I have designed different traps. Um, yes, the ordinary saw that you see in every platformer. And I tell you what they are later because I have to show you the functionality so you know what they do. Um, for example, this shoots this. But try to put them in a way that you can cut that like this. So it wouldn't interfere with other pictures. Because, for example, if this one is very close to the saw, I cannot cut this sprite properly. So make sure that there are some spaces between them and you can make your own models after you find out what they actually do. So now I export all of them as PNG, I mean in one picture, and then bring it into the Unity. Okay, here's a picture. I made a folder trap and I brought it here. Let's fix the things. 100. And as it is one picture and I want to slice that, I make the what was that? Sprite mode to multiple. What is closed? Oh, okay. Okay. And now I just go. I have to zoom in. Make sure that the pivot point is in the center. Otherwise, it will act weird. And this one. Then hit apply. Then you have all of this. I'll start from the easy one. Imagine that I have this and this. Wow, that's huge. So I want that it swings and damage my player. So I don't want that this part damage my player, so my player can jump through that. But here is the thing that would even push my player back or inflict him damage. First, I need Box Collider 2D. And let's write the code for that. For example, for traps, script means, yeah, trap one. Or, I don't know, just for now I just call traps. So I want that it gives damage to my player. So I can make a variable that I can use for other traps as well. Serialize field private float. It has to be integer because the take damage was integer for the player. So damage for default it is 20. And I want to get the player health. I can say okay, find object of type because there's only the player health has been given to only one game object, so I can say that. So say private player health bar, player health, or you can say okay, find the player by tag and get component player health. But that's fine if I only say find object of type player health. But if you want to that it be more performant, it's better that you use game object that find game object with tag player that get component player health bar. This is more performant than the previous one, but both of them are possible. So we have this, and I say, okay, when the player collide to that, say on collision into 2D, and I say if, okay, it collided with the player, it's collision, that game object, that's compare tag, player health, that's take damage, damage. So, and I also, as I want to give the code to both colliders and triggers, you can also say, okay, if this is something that I have collided to is a trigger, for example, this X here is just a collider, you know, it is not this trigger, it has collisions. But maybe you have something else that is triggered and you want to use the same code. So you say on trigger enter 2D and just bring it here. So now give the code that has this collider. Or if you want to give the code to this, um, you have to kind of get that collider in children and then do that. But let's directly give it to this. And the damage amount, I can change it here. And if you use for example, something else, you can simply use the same code and just change the damage amount. So let's test and see if it works. So go there and I receive the damage. But nobody is dumb to really go there. So we have to kind of give it movement. So I go here, make an animation. Animation. Do we have traps? No. I make a folder. Traps. And I just say idle. And I just, for example, this starts from here and it goes there. And again, it returns here. But it is too fast. I think that is better. Now let's test it. Oh, yes. Yes, if it hits me, not only pushes me, but also decrease my health. So the thing is that I have to avoid that by climbing from here. You see that it wouldn't decrease my health oh, if I skip that from the wood part. And to make it natural, go to tile palette and for example on the front nature and make something like this. Or because it doesn't have any colliders, so the player wouldn't go there. But if you want that the player kind of be able to go there, you should go to platform which had the collider and then draw that. Okay, so that is the first trap. So let me take them to the prefab folder. Um, just make a new folder and call it traps. And this is axe. And I delete that because we're going to make it work in the other things. And yes. And a very easy one is this. It has really nothing. It's just here. If you collide to that, it will, okay, you will be hurt. You can also write another code and say, okay, on collision, stay 2D. If it stays on that, it takes continuous damage. But as you want to use the same code, we just say, okay, once that you hit to that, you lose damage. So only the uh, trigger into 2D that you enter to that zone would take you damage. So I say body collider 2D. And go to scripts, trap, and give it that. That's all. 20 damage, yes, that is good. You see when I enter to that, or I jump on that, I lose health. It's very typical in the platformer games. You can change the color if you want to make it stand out, so that is the worst. I don't know, just mm, And also we had made this and make it a prefab. It was indeed traps. And I call it, what to call that? Um, I think trap one. That's the best name that I could give to that. Let's go to other traps that we will have. I tell you the easiest one first. Something that doesn't require coding. I mean more coding. You have this. This is a platform, and this is something that would rotate around it. So you have to jump when, and be careful that this doesn't hit you. And make a new folder called Let or Trap. So this is your, and yes, I need a collider that my player goes there. And for this, it has a box collider as well, but it is only for this part. Only this part is dangerous. And I gave the code. It was, what was trap? Yes. Make it. I just want to make it in a way that you can see that the health bar is gone. But this number is not good. You have to decrease that. And for the real game. And here I'm making new animation. Assets, animation, traps. Um, so here I go there and say, all right, you make a keyframe. And after 2 seconds, it's minus 360. So it would be something like this. You can adjust the speed by, changing the keyframe distance. And yeah, that's it. Okay. So as you see, if I go there, oh, I am here. I have to avoid that. If you want that you continuously don't lose damage, you can give a cooldown to the player that say, okay, it can only take damage, for example, every half a second. So let's go to player. I show you that very quickly. You have a boolean here, and I say private bool can take damage. At first, yes, it is true. And here, take damage. And I say if, yes, can take damage, then do all of that. And after it takes damage and it loses the health, the take damage is false. What? Oh, the can take damage is false. And then you have the I enumerator. Restore damage ability or something that is that you dis yield, return, new, wait for a second. For example, after half a second, take damage, and can take damage is true. So the player, after it gets damage, it becomes false. It means that again, it cannot take damage unless that half a second has passed, and again it is true. And here you say start quarantine. Yes, this. So you wouldn't suddenly lose lots of health. What else do we have? Art, traps. Oh, we have something fun. We have it here. And I put this. Have this, and I give it a circle collider 2D. You can design different traps according to, you know, this is not that's okay. I only these are the traps. No, these are just examples and something that you can get inspiration from them. And this one also has the trap code. It loses 15 health. And also there's another one here. And all of them in an empty game object. Oh, what's to call that trap too? There and make an animation. Traps. Let's say they go around. What's the pivot point? Ah, the pivot point is not good because I used it for the axe. It was there. So no. Move the. Where is the animator? What? Okay. Just give the animation to that. And I say okay. And remember, the pivot point should be in the middle, but it is here. So I can easily take them to here. So the pivot point would be kind of in the middle. Okay, you can just adjust that, but so press the record, change it slightly to make a keyframe, and here, for example, after 1 second, minus, which is very, very fast. All right, that's good. The height must be something that my player can jump through that, which I think it's not, but Okay, let's try that. If it hits me, I lose health. So somehow I have to go in between, and it is very hard that I go from this side to that side. But yeah, that's the only ways that I go through that, and make sure that you make it longer. But here, I just say, okay, that's fine. And take it to the prefab. Remember, it had animator here, but I didn't change the position. If you change the position of that, you have to make another create empty parent for that. Although whatever prefab you bring here, 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 they all come to this specific place. Let's go to art and see what else we have. This is move for moving. Ah, there is another cool thing. Let's remove these platforms. No, not that. It's fine. And place it here. Okay, this one also, in this part, oh, um, let me give it a box collider here. So my player can go over that, or you can give polygon collider 2D. What is that? No. Colliders. Let's see what we have. Edge collider is better. Polygon. Yes. So I remove the polygon, and I have to manually correct that here. Okay, so we have it. My player can go there, and also I have a box collider for this part, but in the code we said, okay, just if you enter to that collider. So how to distinguish between this collider and this, because I don't want that this give me any damage, only this. So I make this one a trigger, or I can make it a separate game object, but they're all on the same one. So I distinguish between this collider and this by making one of them trigger, and this code would be executed, but I have to give it another code that doesn't have this. Don't need update. And let's go to this script and say trap trigger z. Okay, so in the situations that only we have this, that they are on collision and on trigger, we use something like that, so only the trigger part works. It's a little bit high. Now I can give that trap trigger to this. It goes there, no problem. But when it goes there here, it is damaged. But it is not something that I've designed it for. It has more purpose than that. And the cool thing is, let me close that. Move it here to art traps. This stone, I want that. When I get close to this, wait, what is this? Oh. When I get very close, for example, I come here, suddenly the stone moves and try to actually smash me. So I put it here. I give it a circle collider 2D and also a rigid body as it's going to be affected by the gravity. At first it is, well, static. What is that? I guess. Okay. And I make an empty game object and give it a box collider. Type of is trigger. And I make sure that whatever the players go, for example, jumps, I make it very high. So it has to kind of pass from here. And this is the trigger zone. Trigger zone. And I write a code for that. Traps. Trigger zone trap. First, I want to get that stone. So I drag and drop it there. Oh, what is this? Private game object stone. And on trigger enter 2D, if the player enters to that zone, if collision.gameObject.compare tag player. Okay, what happens? I want that this stone, let me share. I want that when I get to that trigger zone in here, when I get there, this falls. How? I have to make the rigid body dynamic. Okay, so it would uh, be collided to me. Trigger zone. I give that stone. Okay, I give that a stone to this. And you can also say, okay, you also give this a code that if it collided with the player, it will be destroyed. But, okay, depends on you. But I want to say you just the inspiration. So here we have it. If it enters to that zone, and let me get the private rigid body 2D stone RB, and in the start I say a stone RB is, yes, get component of that. No, this is stone that gets components. And here I say stone RB body type is type 2D That's dynamic, not cinematic. Okay, that's it. I come into this trigger zone. Yes, it moves. And if I collide to, oh, it doesn't have the code for losing damage, so I say trap. Yes, no, give it lots of, damage. I go there. I want that it falls faster and powerfully. So I give the gravity scale, for example, 4. Now return it to static because by code I want that it be dynamic. Woohoo! Oh, I just hit it. Oh no! So something like that was fun. Yes, you can play with this and see what happens. And I make them this stone trap. So whenever you need something like that, you just make it a prefab. And if it's more of them, you just bring something like this. So you don't need to individually bring that. So let's delete that as well. Now let's go on what do we have here. The saw. No, I have, this is harder. This. And also this one. This is the thing that has the same um, mechanism. So I tell you at first, they're easy. And you see them, some of them, like this, this, they are very common in the game. But the stone one was kind of new, and also this one that I'm going to tell you. And you can also design your own traps. So I have this vertical trap. Only this part can hurt me, so I add a box glider 2D. And also that's trap code. Yes, 20 is good. Now let's go and animate it as I want to animate the position, so I also do that. So I say trap vertical holder. Okay, let's go and assets animation traps vertical. So move something like that and do it and do that. Okay, we have all the keyframes. Now here, I want that it shrinks and go above, and this one was follows. And then it returns with more speed. You see, this part is longer than this. If you want to give it kind of a pushy effect, you can move that here. Bang, bang. Yeah. And can my player pass through that? Yes, I think. And go to this and also add it so it wouldn't be weird. Now let's test it. If I stay here, oh, yes, it's better. Yes, that's better. Let's make it a trigger, and so it wouldn't push it down. Because a poor player doesn't have any space to go. This, and delete that. Now we have different types of trap with different coding. For example, this saw. I want that it moves toward me. It's kind of moving, between 2 point, or we can add as many points. So let's first add this circle collider. And yeah, that's we can make it a streak or not. And call it saw. Yes, we can animate that, but there's also a way that you can control the movements by the code. So let's also try that. The cool thing is that you can adjust um, the distance manually. For example, this saw goes from here to here. Another saw goes from here to here. But if you animate that, there's only okay, all of them should go, for example, from this to this. Unless that you make another animation, for example, from moving from this to this, which is not performance. But using points, you can just simply move the points. So let's go and check how it works. So make it saw holder and go to script, traps, and I say point movement. Imagine that we have a platform. We want that this moves between this and this. Okay? So we say, okay, move toward this one. But when you get too close to that, then move toward this one. Okay? And then when you get close to that, again, go here. Something in between. So first we need to get this point. But maybe if you have more points, for example, like this and like this. So first it goes here, the platform, then it goes here, here, here. So it is index 0, it is 1, 2, 3. And it's okay if we have more than that, then okay, again becomes 0. So first we have to kind of get these points at as list. Serialized field, private arrays of game objects, and I call them points. And okay, it's want to move from this position to this. As we're going to use the move towards, we need the speed, by which speed they're going to move. Then I say private float or int speed. At first it is 3f. And also we get the index private int, for example, say index. At first it is 0. I don't need the start function. So here, yes, the transform the position of the saw is vector 2. Why the 2, I guess? Move towards. Okay, from where to where? It is a current, it is a target, and also we want to give the speed. The current is okay, the place of the saw or the platform. To where I want to go to these. What was that? Yes, points. Which points? It depends on the index. At first it is 0, then it will, if we say plus plus, it would be 1. Because this is the game object, we have to say transform that position, and with this speed, as it is transformed that position, it needs time dot delta time. So it moves toward that. But okay, it gets there. So what else? Something that I told you before. If it gets close to that, it should move to the second one. So we have the if statements. Ah, vector 2, that distance. This is for calculating the distance. Let's see, what does it have? We can also write down, so, okay, vector 2a and vector 2b. The target and also where you are. Transform that position, okay, from here to where? To this. If this is less than, exactly, don't say 0, for example, say 2f. If this is more than this array length, then it would be again be 0. So we say if index is more than point dot length, then index will be 0. All right. Yeah, I just calculated all the index and then we just move towards that. So simple. And we give the code, because it is transformed that position, we give the code to the saw or platform, something that is going to move. So let's get here and add that to this. How many? Let's see here. I say 0.1. And where is that? Hey, oh, let me. And 0.2. And I say, and I drag and drop them here. And we're done. So you see this is moving between what? I'm sorry, more or equal. Forgot that. Also, that one is very ugly. It has to have some kind of rotation for the saw. So I don't want to add this to that code because that code might be useful for platform. I don't want that they rotate. Yeah, so it moves like that. So is that a circle? Oh, I also should give it the trap. So they would be damaging. And another code for anything that wants to circle. And I say circle. Or rotating actually, not circle. They're the same. So I, as different thing might have different speeds, so I make it serialized. So for every game object, we gave them different speeds. So I say speed. For example, this is 3F. And here I say transform dot rotate, rotate. Okay. And it asks me for X, Y, and Z. No, no. I think it has to rotate on the Z. Rotation, yes. So this, and by the speed in time, that's delta time. I'm sorry, I have to say this. Give the code just to the saw. Circle. By the speed of 3, let's see how it looks. Oh, that's good. Ooh. Okay, that's... I can put the point on different position, for example, like this. It is just your choice. So just vertical this way. You see that it happens like this, it moves like that. You know. And make it a prefab as well. Traps. So let's go to next one. Traps. We did this. Yeah, and the platform is the same except that it has uh, some other things that you have to be aware. Okay, give it a box collider. It's type of a platform that moves. If you want that it doesn't move, did we added that? Traps. Simple. That's a simple platform. Okay, you go on that. There's nothing special then. Go on there and then jump. But I want to also make a moving platform. Move. And I give that code. So let me say platform holder. And add, for example, this points 1, points 2, and let me okay. And here I say, what was the name? It was point something. Yes, point movement. Speed is 2. And let's move them here. You can add more points if you want, which I tell you later. Now let's try it. Okay, it moves. I go there, but if I stay on that, I just fall. It doesn't take me anywhere. So one thing is that when I jump on that, I become set parent to that. Alright? So temporarily I go there, I'm set parent to that, and as it moves, it also takes me. Then I jump again and I'm not set parent to that anymore. So that's why we need another code. Um, script, and I call it parent. Um, as you see, okay, sometimes my player doesn't want to jump on that, but he is, for example, very close to this. Then, if I say, okay, whenever you collide to that, you set parent and move with this. So even if a player just stays here and it kind of hits to that, then as it moves, my player also is moved by that, which is very weird. So that's why I want that these colliders do nothing, just push the player away, for example, or do nothing. But another collider, for example, that is on top of that, uh, does the set parent thing. So let's go and add another box collider 2D and make it is triggered. And let's go to edit that. And I have to be very careful. Which one? Yes. That this doesn't touch the outside world, but just a little bit above the simple, collider that is not is triggered. I think, like, yes, it is triggered, and put it that in this position, and this is fixed. That is here. So they, yes, if you didn't have that, then if a player somehow attached to that is moved by that because it is set parents. But this doesn't allow the player get close to that. So it's not set parent to that and doesn't move with that. Only if the player comes on top of that, then as it is completely in touch with this collider that is triggered, then it is set parented. What is used by effector? I mean, is trigger. Okay, so, and also this one was ugly. Okay, which one? Okay. So now let's go and write the code. It was set parent. Here I say on trigger enter 2D. Okay, when a player enters to that, it is set parented to that platform. And when the player exits from that one, it should be again deparented. Then we say collision dot transform dot set parents is transform, and here it will be null. Or you can say, okay, just give the player holder. And let's see what we have here. We have this. That's the same thing. It's, except that it has this one, so you have to be aware that's not to, when, for example, this is here, try to avoid that, and if it gets down, then go on top of that, and then jump. Now, this has the same thing. Let me take it here. I call it lines, and I put it here. It could be trigger or collision. No. Circle collider. and it has 4 points. Point one is here. Point one. Point two is here. Three is here. And four is here. So it would move from here, 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 here. And let's go and add the point movement. Like that. And drag and drop them here. Unlike, and then I forgot to give the code for damaging, but and put it here. And this would have the trap that would give me 20 damages if I collide to that. You see it moves like that. And oh, it hits me and I lost health. So yeah, that is funny. So add it to our prefabs as well. Go to art. I told you all of them except this. Ah, that's too big. And it wants to shoot this. So for example, it shoots it up, rotates, and I have to kind of wait when it's not shooting, then I pass and jump over that. Let's delete that so we can see what we're doing. Okay, I want that when I get to a certain distance to this, because I don't want, for example, I have this thing in my entire game, I don't want that they shoot when I'm very far from them. I want that they only shoot when I'm actually close to them. So in that condition, then it instantiate this towards, upward. And we can make different directions. For example, we put this here in that direction. It's your choice. But right now, I just want that it instantiate the fireball upward, and then as the fireball has a rigid body, then it will fall down again. So let's do that. And I say fire producer. I don't know, just give names. I'm really terrible at giving names. So, and let's write the code for that. Scripts, traps, and say, okay, fire producer. Here I want to get different parameters like the address site, private float, site distance. For example, I should give it 8F. And also, as it wants to instantiate the fire, so I should give it that fire. And survive field where I should get it the fireplace. Chance place. Okay, I don't want that when the player reaches to that. It's just a start producing and spamming the fire, so it should have a cooldown. And private float cooldown timer, for example, every 2 seconds, and private float timer. Okay, here in update, I say if vector 2 that distance from your position to player position, which I have to get that private transform player, and I say player is game object that find game object with tag player gets the transform. Okay, now I say player that position, so it is less than sight distance. Then um, private void firing production. Here it says instantiate fire and fire that position fireplace, I think that's position, and quaternion that's identity. And I see here and timer is more or equal to cooldown timer. At first it would be that. This does that, nothing. And here, say timer is equal time, the delta time, and after it has instantiated that, the timer would be again reaching to 0. I want to give it the animation, which after, for example, 0.2, when it reaches to a proper timing of shooting in that animation, I want that this will be executed. Invoke after F, and I want to make an animation private animator anim is component animator and anim that set trigger shoot, which we didn't create that, but let's go and create. I just want to give it a very simple animation and traps idle fireplace. Okay, there's nothing here. You can change the color if you want. Let's go there and create shooting fire. It's better that for each of them give a specific folder, but for the sake of this tutorial, to make it simpler and quick, I just don't do that. So shooting fire. The parameter is shoot I can now go to the main part and do the animation. Okay, here it's just something like that. Um, let's move the pivot point because that's so bad. Where did it go? It is here. Okay, and make the shooting fire. Okay, just and here it goes down and it stays here like that. It is getting prepared for um, shooting something. And now copy and paste the first frame. You can even change the color if you want. Um, yes, that's good. So I want that in here. It triggers that, so that would be 0.3. And yeah, it's will make this one. So make that. Wait. Actually, this is not fire, but you know what I mean. Let's see if this is. Or I should move the pivot point. Oh, that is what's happened. Or I should move the pivot point of that as well. So it is there. And it rotates. I want that it has a rotation, so it rotates from the pivot point. So I have this. I added a box glider. And if it has a rigid body, yes, I want that gravity implies that. And let's see what happens. And also a trail. Can give it particle system. Let's see what happens if, okay, 2 seconds. I cannot see anything right now. Let's give this, oh, I should see in action what it looks like. Okay, we have that. And I give the code for that whenever that it is instantiated. It moves. I can also give the code to this. Okay, I say a game object geo and then give it a velocity. And also we can give a separate code. So I say traps and I say okay, fire. What can I say? Fire. Because I don't want that the names would be mixed. Fire up. Because it moves in moving up. And then wait for it to compile. Okay, here I say private. Partial. Private. Sometimes my keyword. Okay. I have to hit my keyword right properly. Private rigid body to the RB. And the RB is get component rigid body, yes. I want that it has a speed when it goes up. Float speed. Okay, for example, 3F. When the fire is instantiated, I want that RB that velocity is transform that's up and in the speed. And also I want that it dies, so it will have a lifespan. Private floats lifetime. I think 3F is good. And private floats timer here, just like before. If lifetime, if timer is more equal to lifetime, just destroy the game object. And I also want to give that a rotation. I say timer equal to time that's delta time. And I says a transform that rotates 0, 0, what's this? 360. And I can use the same speed and time the delta time. So just rotates around itself when it is instantiated. And so what it should do, it should take damage from the player. I think that we had this, it's a collision, yes. Fire up. Here I say collision, that's game object, that um come then I get components, player health, player health bar, take damage, it would be int damage. And also when it hits that, I want that it to be destroyed, or you can play an animation. But for now, we want to make everything fast. I just directly say destroy. So everything is done. Now we go to fire and give the fire up. And I go to prefab traps, place a fire here. The fire producer, I need a fireplace. The fireplace would be here. It is instantiate from here. And so let's go to fire producer. What was the code? Fire. Yeah. The fire is this. And the fireplace is this. And let me get rid of that. Now let's try it. What's that? Whoa. I gave it a cooldown. Maybe I made some mistakes there. Yes, rigid body 2D. I'm sorry because sometimes things that go fast, I just make these mistakes. But now everything is good and we can go and test now. The the forest is not enough. Where I didn't bring it here. Or it was on the fire, I think. Fire. What was that? Pretty fab. You can go here and say, okay, this. Um, for example, 10. Yeah. 5. Or you can decrease the gravity scale. And also decrease the increase the cooldown so they don't collide to each other. So it is this and this. So the damage would be 12, 12. So you see I decrease the health. You can also add a sound effect because that's really, and when I get far away from that, it does nothing. I have to get in that distance, aggro distance, to add the fire sound. I say private uh, audio source audio. Okay, when you instantiate that, no, just this. That's play. Oh, I forgot to get component audio source. Um, I add the audio source. And I put explosion here. I think I covered all of them. Here, 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 here. Yes. Oh, damn. I have to decrease the lifetime for that. Nice. I have to increase that, or I should make it, um, not to raise the ground. Whoa. Oh no. I have to bring it a little bit down. Oh no. What is... And I also need to fix these areas. You can place, for example, this, and make them, for example, if the player, lots of them, I mean. So if the player collides to them, the player dies. Or there is second way that, okay, we have an invisible collider that follows the player, and when the player hits that, it dies. So let me do that in the script. Traps, invisible trap. So imagine that. Where is that? Okay, make an empty game object and let's say down detector and give it a box collider and make it big. Put it in a place that you're sure your player never gets there. For example, a player is in this line or higher. If it's go down, you want to make sure that it never collides with that because the Y position never changes. Just the X position is changed. So that would be your bottom line. And imagine that it is here, and I give it a tag death. If it collides, that death is inevitable. And I also say in the player health, so let's go and say on collision into 2D. Collision, it's here. If collision dot game object dot compare tag player. You can give the code also to that one, but I just want to show you different ways that you can retrieve the names and how to treat them. Okay, so if it compare tag death, I think it was yes. If it collides to that, then just die. Just death is okay. It's a simple. And then, for example, a restart menu will appear, and something that would happen when it dies another way. And also in down detector, where was this script? Invisible. It should move where the player moves. So I say private transform player. And here I say player is game object. That's find game object. I think that's tag player. That's transform. In updates, I say transform that position is new vector 2. Okay, I say player dot position dot x, but keep your y. I don't want that it goes up and down as the player, because if the player goes down, then it also moves down, so they never collide to each other. And this would happen. And I can say, okay, time dot delta time. But let's go and check that. I fall down and I die. Oh, that is ridiculous. So yeah, the down detector works, and I can add to my prefab. Um, but the problem are those. Yes, just right there. But the problem are these grasses. I want. Okay, they have this height, which is the ground level. When I go up, they don't go up. But if I go down, then they go down. So it wouldn't be something like this. It would move to here as well. So for that, let's go to code. I add serialized field, private, loads, max, y value. Imagine that it is 0, but we can tweak with that. And then here, for the grass part, because this is for the background. Yes, yes. So it's for the grass. Here I want to say, okay, float, clam, y is, I use method, that's mean, camera, position, that's y. Okay, follow the camera on y, but do not go beyond this max value. You can go down, but for going up, you have limitation and you have to stick to that. I copy that and paste it instead of this. And also I want to fix the position of, for example, so first is delete that and then have it. Control D now for the second one. First what? First grass. And the second grass, second. Okay, now I think the problem is fixed. Just play with this number. Okay, I think that one is good. Okay, if I jump, it doesn't come with me. But if I fall down, it stays where it is. And that is exactly what we wanted. So move it to 1.